Hello everyone, welcome back to next session of the video, that is electrochemistry. Debye-Huckel theory explains the increase in conductance of strong electrolytes on dilution based upon the following two effects, that is relaxation or asymmetric effect and electrophoretic effect. In that first one, asymmetric effect. Okay, each ion is surrounded by ionic atmosphere of opposite charge, means positive ion is surrounded by ionic atmosphere of negative ions. When a current is passed through the solution, the central ion moves towards oppositely charged electrodes. Okay, and ionic atmosphere moves towards positive electrode. So the old ionic atmosphere is destroyed. The destruction of the old ionic atmosphere and the formation of the new ionic atmosphere do not take place at the same time. There is a little time gap between the destruction and the formation of the new ionic atmosphere. This time is called relaxation time. This time is called relaxation time. Okay. During this time, the old ionic atmosphere tend to drag the moving ions backward. It tend to drag the moving ions backward. Hence, it retards its motion. Hence, this effect is called relaxation effect. During this time, the old ionic atmosphere pulls the moving ions backward and retards its motion. Hence, this effect called relaxation effect. So, symmetry of the ionic atmosphere is destroyed, means it becomes asymmetric. Therefore, this effect is called asymmetric effect. In addition to asymmetric effect, there is another factor which retards the mobility of the ions known as electrophoretic effect. Okay. Next, second one is electrophoretic effect. The solvent molecules attack themselves to the ionic atmosphere. Means we know that ionic atmosphere of central ion always remains associated with the solvent molecules. Okay, the ionic atmosphere with the solvent molecules moves in a direction opposite to that of the central ion. This means on applying EMF, the central ion moves in one direction and oppositely charged ionic atmosphere moves in another direction. As this ionic atmosphere moves, the solvent molecules associated with it also moves. Okay. On applying EMF, the central ion moves in one direction and ionic atmosphere associated with the solvent molecules moves in another direction. Thus, the flow of the ionic atmosphere and that of the solvent molecules associated with it take place in a direction opposite to that of the central ion. So, this produces friction. Due to which mobility of the central ion retarded. So, this effect is called electrophoretic effect. Based upon the above ideas, Debye and Huckel derived a mathematical expression for the variation of equivalent conductance with the concentration. This equation was further improved by Onsager. Now the equation is known as Debye-Huckel-Onsager equation. For a univalent electrolyte, lambda C equal to lambda naught minus 82.4 divided by dt to the power of half into eta plus 8.20 into 10 to the power of 5 divided by dt to the power of 3 by 2 into lambda naught into root c. Okay, this equation is called D by Huckel-Onsager equation. In that, lambda c is a equivalent conductance at concentration C. Equivalent conductance with the concentration C. And lambda naught is equivalent conductance at infinite dilution. Equivalent conductance at infinite dilution. Okay, D is the dielectric constant. D is dielectric constant and T is temperature of the solution. C is the concentration of the solution. C is concentration of the solution in moles per liter. Moles per liter. Okay, as D and eta are constants for a particular solvent at constant temperature, the above equation can be written as lambda c equal to lambda naught minus a plus b lambda naught into root c. Okay, this equation is known as D by Huckel-Onsager equation. Next part is activity and activity coefficient of electrolytes. In 1908, G. N. Lewis introduced the concept of activity and activity coefficient in order to explain the deviation of an electrolyte solution from ideal behavior. When a solution is highly diluted, it means completely dissociated into ions. When a solution is highly diluted, means completely dissociated into ions. All the ions are available for conductance. Okay, all the ions are available for conductance. This solution is said to be ideal solution. This solution is said to be ideal solution. For ideal solution, effective concentration. Effective concentration means observed value. Okay, observed value is equal to actual concentration. Actual concentration means theoretical value. For ideal solution, effective concentration is equal to the actual concentration. But the electrolyte which is not completely dissociated, in this case, effective concentration is less than actual concentration. Okay, but electrolyte which is not completely dissociated, in this case, effective concentration means observed value is always less than the actual concentration. So Lewis introduced the term activity coefficient. To explain the deviation from ideal behavior. According to this, activity coefficient denoted by gamma, that is equal to effective concentration denoted by A divided by actual concentration denoted by M. So activity coefficient gamma equal to effective concentration divided by actual concentration, or A equal to M into gamma. This is first equation. Consider an electrolyte AXBY gives X molecules of A plus ion and Y molecules of B minus ion. So that means 1 mole of AXBY produces X moles of cations and Y moles of anions. Therefore, activity of above electrolyte is defined as the product of activity of cations and activity of anions. That means activity of an electrolyte is equal to product of the activity of cation A plus the power x and activity of anion A minus to the power of y. This is equation number 2. But activity of cation means A plus. Activity of cation equal to A means M into gamma. So activity of cation equal to M plus into gamma plus, where M plus is the concentration of cation and gamma plus means activity coefficient of cation. Activity coefficient of cations. Okay. Activity of cation equal to concentration of cation and activity coefficient of cation. As 1 mole of electrolyte produces X moles of cations. Therefore, concentration of cation will be X times the concentration of the electrolyte. That means concentration of the cation is the X times concentration of an electrolyte. Therefore, A plus equal to M plus into gamma plus. M plus means X into M into gamma plus. Okay. And A minus equal to Y into M into gamma minus. This is equation number 3. Okay. Let's put these values in equation number 2. Values in equation number 2. Therefore, activity of an electrolyte A equal to A plus means X M gamma plus to the power of X into A minus means Y M gamma minus to the power of Y. Therefore, X to the power of X, M to the power of X, gamma plus to the power of X. Then Y to the power of Y, M to the power of Y and gamma minus to the power of Y. On rearranging, X to the power of X, Y to the power of Y into M to the power of X, M to the power of Y into gamma plus to the power of X and gamma minus to the power of Y. That is equal to X to the power of X, Y to the power of Y into M to the power of X and M to the power of Y means M to the power of X plus Y into gamma plus and minus is there. So plus minus to the power of X plus Y. Gamma plus minus is called mean activity coefficient. Mean ionic activity coefficient. Mean ionic activity coefficient. Okay. Gamma plus minus is called mean ionic activity coefficient. So, this is the activity of an electrolyte. Okay. For a univalent electrolyte, case 1, for a univalent, for example, NaCl, HCl. NaCl gives Na plus Cl minus. Here X equal to 1 and Y equal to 1. Y equal to 1. Therefore, activity of an electrolyte A equal to X to the power of 1, Y to the power of 1. Okay. Then M to the power of X plus Y. X means 1 plus 1, 2. That is M square into gamma plus minus square. Okay. Second, case 2. For unibivalent electrolyte, unibivalent. For example, Na2CO3 or ZnCl2. In case of ZnCl2, ZnCl2 gives Zn2 plus ions and plus 2Cl minus. Here x equal to 1, y equal to 2. X equal to 1, y equal to 2. Therefore, activity of an electrolyte A equal to x equal to 1, y equal to 2. Okay. Y square means 4 m 1 plus 2 m cube gamma plus or minus cube. This is for unibivalent electrolyte. Okay. This is about activity and activity coefficient of an electrolyte. Next part is ionic strength of electrolyte solution. The concept of ionic strength was first introduced by Lewis and Randall in 1921 while describing the activity coefficient of strong electrolytes. The ionic strength of a solution is a measure of the concentration of ions in that solution. The ionic strength I is equal to half into summation of Mi Zi square. Okay, ionic strength I equal to half summation of Mi Zi square, where Zi is charge of an ion. Zi is charge of an ion and Mi is molality. Okay, for a solution consisting of two types of ions at molalities M plus and M minus. For a solution consisting of two types of ions at molalities M plus and M minus, then ionic strength I is equal to half M plus Z plus square plus M minus Z minus square. So this is for two types of ions. This is about ionic strength of electrolyte solution. Next part is Arrhenius theory of ionization. The main postulates of Arrhenius theories are: first one, when dissolved in water, an electrolyte splits or dissociates into positively and negatively charged particles called ions. This process is called electrolytic dissociation or ionization. For example, NaCl dissociate to form Na plus and Cl minus ions. So this Na plus and Cl minus are called as ions, and this process is called as electrolytic dissociation or ionization. Second postulate is the solution of electrolyte is electrically neutral. That means total charge carried by positive ion is equal to the charge carried by negative ion. Charge carried by the positive ion is equal to the charge carried by the negative ion. The third postulate is the charged ions are free to move through the solution to the oppositely charged electrode. This is called as migration of ions. This movement of ions constitute the electric current through the electrolytes. Okay, the charged ions are free to move through the solution. That means positive ion migrates towards cathode and negative ions migrates towards anode. So this movement of the ions are known as migration of ions. Okay, fourth point is the ions obtained by the dissociation of electrolyte combine back to give the undissociated molecule. Ultimately, an equilibrium is reached between the ions and the undissociated molecule. For example, consider molecule AB dissociates to give A plus and B minus ions. Okay, this A plus and B minus combines together to form AB molecule. This is called undissociated form. AB is called undissociated form and A plus and B minus are called dissociated form. Okay. So finally, there is an equilibrium between dissociated and undissociated molecules. According to law of mass action, according to law of mass action, the dissociation constant K is equal to concentration of A plus into concentration of B minus divided by concentration of the molecule AB. Okay, dissociation constant K equal to concentration of A plus into concentration of B minus divided by concentration of the molecule AB. The next postulate is the property of an electrolyte are the property of its ions. That means the property of acid are due to the presence of H plus ions and property of the base are due to the presence of OH minus ions. Acids are due to the presence of H plus ions and base are due to the presence of OH minus ions. These are the main postulates of Arrhenius theory of ionization.